And again, everybody, I really want to apologize for all the technical difficulties. I'm going to get this right. This is the first time that I've ever done this before, and it's real important for me to get this information out here.
Mommy, I'm just eating mango with my daddy.
That is so nice. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. First of all, I want to say thank you to everybody that took the time to come in and listen and participate in the first dark skin conference ever in the world online on a phone conference. I want to really appreciate you guys for that, and I want to apologize for all these technical difficulties. But anyway, so you know, we're going to run till about 4:30 unless there's no questions that people have. Also, let's see, if you want to go online to the webinar, you can still go ahead and access the webinar for those of you that already registered for it. But for those of you that just want to listen in, obviously you've called the phone number and you're listening in right now. If you have questions, those of you that are listening in over the phone, I'm on Facebook, so all you have to do is message me your question and I will answer your question. And also know that this is being recorded, so hopefully we'll get this put on Facebook and on YouTube, so if anybody wants to re-listen to this again or share it or whatever, you will be able to do so. So let me just also I have Stephanie that's on the line with me. She's helping me with some technical stuff here. She's on the other end, so I want to thank her for that. And like I said, we're just going to go ahead and get started. So a lot of people message me all the time. They have a lot of different questions about what I do. Hold on one second. Sorry about that. I'm here with my little one, and she's kind of in and out. But a lot of people have a lot of questions about what I do. They don't understand what it is I'm doing, why it is that I'm doing it. All they know is I'm talking about dark skin, dark skin, dark skin. So that's one of the reasons why I wanted to conduct this conference, so that people can get some type of understanding of what it is that I do and ask me questions directly so that we can get clarity here. So first of all, I want to just kind of give a brief introduction as to who I am. My name is Rashida Strober, of course, the dark skin activist. And the dark skin activism, what is the dark skin activist? A lot of people find that to be strange and new. And I will say it is a new paradigm. It's just something that's brand new. And so a lot of times when stuff is new, people have difficulty understanding what it is. But the dark skin activist means exactly what it says. I am an activist for dark skin. Okay, and what that means is my work consists of doing as much as I can to equalize the beauty of dark skin women and girls specifically. Now, I do advocate as well for dark-skinned people, including men, but the dark-skin activism really came out of the beauty issues surrounding females and dark skin. So that's pretty much what the dark-skin activist means. And in that role, you guys can, you can go to my website, by the way, and you can read up on my bio, and it gives you the specific information as to how and why I got started with dark skin activism. And really, just to give you a briefing on it, it started way back when, in 1998. I tell people this all the time. At St. Petersburg College, I gave a speech on the Sudanese model, Alec Weck. And for me, I really think that that's what spearheaded my dark skin activism in terms of the activism I had to equalize dark-skinned female beauty and to speak about the inequalities in terms of dark-skinned females when we look at their beauty. And so I spoke about the Sudanese model back in 1998 and how black people were saying she was not the real representation of what it meant to be a black and beautiful woman. They were calling her names. And it was a real bad situation, and I wanted to deal with it head on. And this was during Black History Month, and I felt that that was an appropriate time to deal with it. And so that's really where my activism started. And the experience, what I call dark skin mental abuse, the dark skin mental abuse that I experienced growing up, that kind of led up to the dark skin activism. So I wanted to kind of deal with this and ask the questions of why is it that dark-skinned women and girls, their beauty is seen different from non-dark-skinned women and girls. And I wanted to tackle that. And what I've done from 1998 on is I've done that in a multiplicity of ways. And I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but the ways include mainly the play A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge. And so what I also want to explain about myself is that I'm an actor, I'm a performer. And so a lot of the issues around dark skin beauty impacted me becoming a performer, because a lot of people said, well, you're too dark skinned, you're too nappy headed, and you're too ugly to ever be a performer. And that kind of course, messed with my self-esteem and my confidence in terms of pursuing acting. But long story short, I actually did pursue acting, started pursuing it back in 2005 when I moved out to Los Angeles, and ended up writing a play called The Ice Cream Lady's Dream. And from that play, which dealt with some issues surrounding dark skin, from that play, I wrote A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge in 2006. And so what I've noticed is when I would do the play, when I would perform the play A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge, I noticed that after the play, people would start telling me their dark skin stories, what happened to them. And what I realized is that the play itself was edutainment. And it was a way to get people to open up and speak honestly and openly about what had happened to them in terms of dark skin. And so it created a dialogue. And so, you know, that's pretty much the history of my activism. And then as I looked at that, and I see some people asking me some questions, and I promise I'm going to get to your questions. I'm just trying to give you a little bit of a background here on why I do what I do. So as I started to continuously perform this play, and the play itself is a one-woman show where I'm playing 5 different characters from different walks of life, 5 different very dark-skinned women, and their experiences and struggle in relationships with being dark-skinned, whether it be with men in relationships in corporate America, with their children, in all aspects of life, because I had seen these things going on around me for years. I had seen the struggles of dark-skinned women, and I had seen people ignore it, sweep it under the table, and my heart was always there. And so I wanted to use the performing arts as a way to impact the world and to make a change. And so I learned and figured out that that's what I could do. And so, you know, A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge, the play, is a big part of the campaign, as well as I turned A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge into a book, the book version, which you can go to my website, darkskinisbeautifulcampaign.com, and the book is there. And then I also wrote a motivational book specifically geared toward dark-skinned women. And to be honest with you, the motivational book, the tips and principles that I include in the book, is relevant to anyone, and that book is available free. All you got to do is go to the website, darkskinisbeautifulcampaign.com, and you know, register to join the campaign, and you can get a free copy of How to Be the Hottest Dark-Skinned Chick on the Planet, the name of the motivational book. Because what I started to see and realize is that we have this issue of dark-skinned beauty inequality, but no one's really addressing it, and no one's really trying to find a solution to the problem to help dark-skinned women who are coming through that area of their life, sort of a beauty rite of passage. So I wanted to write the motivational book and share my real-life experiences to help other dark-skinned women and, of course, help other people. So the books are a part of the campaign, as well as I do different speaking engagements. I speak at schools to children, you know, in different organizations and that kind of thing. To, again, it's all about creating an open and honest dialogue about why dark-skinned females are not viewed as equally beautiful as non-dark-skinned females. And then also a part of the campaign is to bring or reconcile the relationship between black men and dark-skinned black women. So what the campaign is not, real quickly, I am not a dark-skinned supremacist at all. I don't believe in dark-skinned privilege. What I believe is equality for everyone. And so my focus, of course, is dealing with dark skin, the equality of dark-skinned female beauty. So I hope that I kind of covered what the campaign is, what it's not, and what it's about in a snippet. But you can always go to the website, and there's my bio that's there, the campaign bio. There's a lot of information there that you can read up on and, you know, get answers to your questions. So now I see that I have some questions here, and I'm going to go ahead and respond to some of your questions here. Okay, so I have one person, and thank you very much for listening. He says, hi, I'm listening on the phone webinar. What is your thoughts about dark-skinned women's role in acting? Look at Sanford and Son. Aunt Esther was always referred to as ugly, monkey, gorilla, etc. You know what? I'm so glad you asked that question because, you know, again, I just told you guys that I'm an actor. I'm a performer. I've always wanted to be an actress since, you know, I was a little girl. And one of the things that kind of destroyed my self-esteem and confidence is people telling me that you are too black and you are too ugly and nappy-headed to be an actress. And so I feel that dark-skinned women who want to be in the entertainment industry, it's hard for them. It's getting a little bit better because we're starting to see people like Tyler Perry. He actually does cast a lot of dark-skinned women in his different media projects. But, you know, the brother just spoke here about Omar. I hope you don't mind me mentioning your name. That's who just asked that question about Aunt Esther. And my mom loved that show, Sanford and Son, and we grew up watching that show. And as I started to develop my consciousness, and I also didn't mention, I'm kind of getting off into tangents here, but I was a part of the Uhuru movement, which is a black empowerment organization that fought for the political, social, economic rights of black people. I was a member of that organization for a long time, fighting for black rights on a grassroots level. So as I started to develop my consciousness, I started to examine and look at things like that. Look at stuff like what he's saying about Aunt Esther, how she was cast into this this dark-skinned female ugly role and denigrated and talked about. And I hate that. To me, that's a form of dark-skinned female discrimination. Recently, I did a post about Trishina Arnold and Martin and how I felt in terms of her experiencing, or the character being castigated into the role of the dark-skinned ugly female role. Even when Martin played, I can't remember the name of the woman that he played in Martin, Shanae, that's her name. She was really viewed as this loudmouth, ignorant, dark-skinned woman. And so those are the ways in which dark-skinned females have been viewed on film and in the media. It's rare that you will see the you know, a dark-skinned woman consistently, and I'm talking about consistency here, as the love interest in a very mainstream blockbuster movie. And so that's one of the things that I really advocate for, is seeing more beautiful dark-skinned women. Like I know we have Gabrielle Union. Like I said, Tyler Perry, thanks to him, he's one of the people that does not have a problem with casting dark-skinned women with, you know, traditional Afrocentric looking features in his projects. I want to see more of that, because I feel that the media has a huge impact on how black people view beauty. And I feel that the media is responsible for the discrimination of dark-skinned female beauty. I hope I answered your question, Omar. If you have any more questions, I'm on Facebook here reading messages and answering questions. So that's awesome. Let's see. I am looking at some more questions here. Just bear with me. I have someone else that just said, hold on one second. Hold on one second. This person here says, hey, Rashida, you know what? My biggest pet peeve is with blacks, especially black men, is when they say shit like nobody gives a fuck about her, so why is she worried about being acknowledged for her great work, but will turn around and acknowledge a light, bright, or mixed or whatever from ear to eternity to you. Okay. Okay. So, and that, I'm not going to say this person's name, but that's coming from a dark-skinned woman. And what I want to say real quickly about, you know, just the whole issue of dark-skinned women and being acknowledged, is one of the reasons why I do this is because, let me tell you, there's a lot of dark-skinned women out there that are hurting, and I feel where she's coming from, because I feel like people don't take the issue of dark-skin discrimination, female discrimination, seriously in terms of beauty. And so they'll tend to sweep it under the rug, and like this person is saying, you know, they basically don't care, or they'll say, oh, she's just complaining, and all these types of things, to where they're not acknowledging the struggle of what dark-skinned women go through, whereas the struggles of, like she said, mixed-race women have been acknowledged, for example, or the struggles of white women and feminists and that kind of thing. And I just feel like dark-skinned women's struggle, the beauty struggle, nobody has really paid attention to it. Nobody has, you know, made a concerted effort and not made excuses to actually deal with the issue head on and say, you know what, this is wrong. We know that this is happening in every area of African American society, and even society as a whole. Let's deal with it. Let's try to figure out why this sister is hurting. Let's try to figure out what happened to her maybe when she was a kid in her family, or, you know, in schools, or at the job, because this stuff is real and it exists. And so, you know, I acknowledge the fact that a lot of people don't acknowledge it. I mean, people, I can't tell you guys how many times people have written me off and said, well, she's just blowing smoke. You know, she's just, you know, she needs to just get over it, or this is not a real issue. When we actually, as dark-skinned women, we've been living this hurt and pain in silence for years, a lot of us. And a lot of us, like I said, I get a lot of messages from dark-skinned women. They don't want me to disclose their name or their information, and I'll never do that, their names publicly, and what, you know, because they don't want to further be denigrated. And so that's why I feel like we need to, as a people, we need to say, black people, because I don't feel that this is a white issue. I don't feel that white people can, and I hope I answered your question, the person, the dark-skinned lady that just messaged me that, I don't feel that white people can solve this problem for us. I feel that this is going to have to be solved between black people. It's the issue of self-love. It's the issue of understanding that this all comes out of racism and white supremacy, and how can we undo it to get back to the place where we see dark skin as beautiful, where we love each other. I hope I answered your question. I got some more questions coming in here. This one dark-skinned young lady says, do you think dark-skinned female suicide needs to be talked about more? Absolutely. Yes. Dark-skinned, I like the way she put that. Dark-skinned female suicide. And again, it kind of goes back to what the other young lady, the question that she asked about people writing off what we're doing, or what the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign about as, oh, they just complaining, or they just hating. No, this is a real issue where you have a lot of depressed, dark-skinned women out there, and they feel like they're being backed into a corner because they can't speak freely about this. You have no idea how that feels to, you know, be in that situation where you feel like if you talk about how you feel freely, then people are going to beat you down even more. You already feel beat down as it is when you step out into the world and have to deal with society, and you've probably gone through years and years of what I call dark-skinned mental abuse. And then when you become an adult, you have all this inside of you and not having the ability to get it out there. And I do believe that does, not that I believe, I know that it can lead dark-skinned women to feel like they want to commit suicide. Why? Because I have had some dark-skinned women contact me that have wanted to commit suicide, that I've actually spoke with and counseled, and I still talk to them to this day because I care. And that's at the heart of this. We need to care about how each other is feeling. You know, it's not a situation of, oh, we hate other people, or oh, we hate other skin tones. It's a situation of if one part of your body is sick, you need to deal with it. And what I'm saying is, it is a lot of dark-skinned women out there who are hurting, but they're just not telling other people because they don't feel comfortable telling you. They feel like they're going to be bashed and abused again. So why open up like that? And so the work that I'm doing And if there are some African American counselors out there, I don't know, the work that they're doing is important to dark-skinned young women, dark-skinned older women, middle-aged women, what have you, and dark-skinned males even, because I even talk to dark-skinned males who are, you know, suicidal, who are going through different things in their life, and try to help them and try to counsel them, because I know the issue is there. And so it's very relevant. Dark-skinned female suicide needs to be talked about openly, and it needs to be addressed. And in families, those of us that are conscious of dark-skinned female beauty discrimination, we need to be open to listening and hearing what victims of this, you know, what they're going through without judging them. Just being there for them. Hug them. Love them. Listen to them. That is so important. Oh, my God. I thank God, because for me, it's the performing arts. I think if I didn't have the performing arts as an outlet to speak about how I feel and what I've been through as a dark-skinned woman, I think that I probably would have gone crazy, to be honest with you. So that's one of the reasons why I speak out so much. But at the same time, I know that I'm helping other dark-skinned women and girls, and even men who are going through the same situations that I'm going through. So I hope that I answered your question. The young lady that just asked that, if you have any more questions, feel free to, you know, send it to me. I'm on Facebook right now trying to read as many messages that I can. Okay, I just got a message here. Swea, she says, basically, do I think that the dark skin discrimination is slavery's fault? Yes. Let me just say vehemently here, because a lot of people seem to be under the impression that I don't know what the root cause of dark-skinned female beauty discrimination is. And let me just tell you, I am well aware of the fact that dark-skinned and white supremacy. Two of my leading top scholars that I really respect and admire their work, Neely Fuller and Dr. Frances Cress Welsing, who wrote the ISIS papers. Neely Fuller talks about replacing racism with a system of justice, and that's again that's what I'm about here: equality and justice for equalizing dark-skinned female beauty. And then Dr. Frances Cress Welsing talks about she talked about in her book The ISIS Papers about the issue of projection, of how people will they'll feel a certain type of way about themselves and project that onto you, and how white people have done that through racism and white supremacy, how they understand that you know, they are in the minority worldwide. They call black people minorities in the United States, but let's be real here. White people are in the minority worldwide. It is the people of color that are the majority, and the dark people of Africa alone has over 1 billion people. So that tells you something right there. And so going back to Dr. Frances Cress Welsing's concept of projection, she says that white people have looked at black people and they're angry. White people are angry because they cannot produce color. They can't. And, you know, the darkest people of the world, of course, produces the most color. And white people have looked at this and created a system of racism and white supremacy in the 9 people areas of activity that Neely Fuller talks about. And they've interjected this system to destroy and damage the dark people or the colored or the dark people of the world. And so absolutely, out of that you have slavery that came out of that. And, you know, black people get over to the Americas, and you start to have the white slave masters raping black women, African women, and producing children that are of a lighter hue. You know, of course, no hate to the children that's of a lighter hue, but, you know, the system in which that it was created is what we hate. You know, the system of abuse, because what it's created is a caste system, a caste system. I have a sister here that just sent me, Carla. I hope you don't mind me saying, I don't think you would mind me saying your name. That's why I said your name. She says, she's talking about remember the 2 Indian women who committed suicide from dark skin bashing. Okay, that goes back to the other young lady's question of, do I think that dark skinned women, the issue of dark skinned female suicide, should we address that? Yes, absolutely. You have people actually committing suicide because the pressures of not being light enough, of not being able to fit into the ideals of what racism and white supremacy created. So all of these issues, going back to Sweeta's question, yes, it stems from slavery, which stemmed from racism and white supremacy, which in what Neely Fuller would talk about and say, we need to replace that with a system of justice and equality. And that is what the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign is about. It is about equality, the equality of dark-skinned female beauty. Because see, for women, and I love my black men, I love my black dark-skinned men. I've been criticized a lot for, well, why don't you talk about the dark-skinned men? The thing is, I am for the empowerment of dark-skinned men as well, but you got to understand that for women, our existence, whether we want to admit it or not, some of us, our existence revolves around how beautiful we are. Okay? I can't recall the doctor's name. It's going to come to me. But she talks about beauty as being social capital for women. And if a woman does not have that social capital to use in terms of beauty, then that impacts every other area of her life. So beauty for women is extremely important. I call it beauty bargaining power, because women use their beauty bargaining power to get so many different things, to get jobs, even in education. I mean, y'all know I've blogged about my experiences trying to pursue higher education, and what I've seen when I was attending the University of South Florida, and how I saw people get ahead because I believe, of their color, and what I went through from being dark-skinned, and how it was more difficult for me. And again, these things have been proven, so it's not something that's far-fetched. It's real, and yes, we do remember and we do mourn Carla, the 2 Indian women that committed suicide, and others that have committed suicide because they didn't fit into the ideal of being dark-skinned. If you just think about that, it's really a tragic, deep, sad, horrendous thing if a person has to kill themselves because they're being discriminated against because they're too black. I mean, just think about that. It's sickening. We should not even be at that level of that type of abuse. I have another question coming in here, and I'm gonna. He says, and I don't know if you want me to say your name or not, so I'm just gonna read the question. Do you think we should be segregated? What can the black community do better to advance in today's society? I'm gonna assume, and if you're listening, you can message me and correct me if I'm wrong here, that you're asking if black people should perhaps segregate themselves from white people. And my answer to that question is yes. I put on Facebook a lot that I want to move to Africa because I'm so sick and tired of having to get up every day and realize that I'm black and all the things that come along with being black in terms of the discriminations that black people go through. I want to at some point segregate myself and live in an all black surrounding and just work with my black people and work out and resolve the issues that we have among ourselves without having to worry about racism and white supremacy adding to that. You see what I'm saying? I think a lot of times, we're so caught up in the system that we live in, black Americans over here, and the issues that we have to deal with in terms of racism, that it's hard for us to deal with our own issues. So yes, and I don't think segregation is a bad thing. There are studies that proved that prior to the civil rights movement that black people were doing better in this country economically, socially, in so many different ways. And so as long as everything is equal and as long as black people can fare on a global scale in comparison to other races around the world, I really don't see a problem with it. And like I said, at some point, I do see myself moving to an a very black African country so that I finally get some peace. Because you do get tired of fighting. I mean, you got to fight on. but you get tired of it, and at some point you just want to live and be happy, and you raise your kids, raise your family without all that extra stuff like white people do. The concept of white privilege, where white people don't have to wake up every day and think about being white. They just get up and they just do and be who they are and what they were born to be, but it's a different set of circumstances if you're born black. So I hope I answered your question. I have another question here. She told me specifically not to say her name, so I'm not going to say your name. I'm just going to read your question. How does your campaign help with black unity for non-dark-skinned people? Talk about, okay, that's an excellent question. I feel that the campaign is an opportunity for non-dark-skinned people who really understand the abuse, the discrimination that dark-skinned females and dark-skinned people in general face. I feel that it's an opportunity for them to step up to the plate and really, show who they are as a person to equalize dark-skinned beauty. It's an opportunity. It's an opportunity, and it's also a duty that non-dark-skinned black people have. Real quickly, and I don't think she's going to mind, I want to say one of the people that really supported me in the wake of all this little controversy that I had going on a couple of months ago is a lighter-skinned sister named Carla. And she stepped up to the plate, and she actually founded Dark Skinned Women United. You can find the group on Facebook. And this is a light-skinned sister, okay? Also, Rena Walker, she's a light-skinned sister. She invited me on her show to, speak my piece and voice my opinion. Also, I want to say shout out to my best friend, Shamina, who is a light-skinned sister. So the thing is, a lot of light-skinned people, they understand what's going on. They understand that dark-skinned people are discriminated against. I even had one light-skinned sister tell me, she said, she's in the entertainment industry, and she said she would go to casting calls, and she would see, that she was getting preferential treatment over her dark-skinned sisters because of her light skin. And she would call it out. And in some instances, she would lose the job because she called it out. She stepped up to the plate. And I respected that, because that is what you have to do. It's either you're going to stand up and you're going to say, I see what's going on and I'm going to do something about it, or I'm going to relish in my privilege and I'm going to do nothing. So it's a perfect opportunity for unity to happen, because non-dark-skinned people can unite with dark-skinned people to equalize the beauty of dark-skinned women. I don't see that there's any conflict with that. And people have painted me. I'm glad that the young lady asked this question, because a lot of people have said, "Oh, you hate light-skinned women," and I have no hatred in my heart for anyone. I definitely have no hatred for light-skinned women. Just because there's a campaign to equalize dark-skinned beauty does not mean that it's a campaign also to hate non-dark-skinned people. That doesn't make any sense. I'm telling you that I'm about justice and equality. So I'm about justice and equality for everyone, and the dark-skinned woman, her beauty is not equalized. And so that is something that all people, as far as I'm concerned, should be jumping on that bandwagon and should be in support of. I'm trying my best to field as many of the questions here that I see coming in, so just bear with me. Let's see. Hold on one second. Okay, another question I have coming in is, what are your thoughts on Bill Duke's Dark Girls enjoying? He says he's enjoying the webinar. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm going to answer that question. I'm just typing a quick message to that brother. Thank you very much. My thoughts, you know what? I've been asked that question a whole lot. And when Dark Girls came out, I was, my thoughts on the whole thing of them addressing the dark-skinned female beauty issue, I was like, this is a good thing. Because the more people that we get addressing the issue, the better off we are at eradicating the discrimination. But when Bill Duke, the producers of Dark Girls, came out with Light Girls, I felt like that was a betrayal to dark-skinned women. Because here's the thing. and some of you might disagree with me. It's okay, but these are my opinions and views. I'm here to be honest. I feel like the producers tried to paint the light girls documentary as equal to the struggle of what dark-skinned women go through. And to me, it's just a crock of BS. You cannot, there is, in my opinion, on the whole, there is no non-dark-skinned female struggle in terms of beauty equality. There is none. Okay? Dark-skinned women, everybody knows this. Let's be honest. It's like the big elephant in the room. Dark-skinned women are seen as the ugliest women on the planet. Okay? So for me, why would you turn around and make a documentary trying to put the struggle of non-dark-skinned women on the same level as dark-skinned women and take the attention off of the struggle of the dark-skinned woman? To me, that was a stab in the back. And one of the things that I did not like about the Dark Girls documentary, even though I have not watched the whole thing in its entirety, I have some other questions coming in. I'm trying to get to all y'all questions just so you guys know. But going back to the documentary for the Dark Girls, I did not like the way that the dark-skinned women in Dark Girls were lit in comparison to how the women in the Light Girls documentary were lit. And I think even lighting, because I'm a performer, I'm an actor, and lighting is very important to dark-skinned performers. And it's not to light them and make them look lighter skinned. It's to showcase, you have to put the lighting on them in such a way where you're showcasing their beauty for all the world to see them in all their beautiful dark-skinned glory. And that documentary frustrated me so because I did not see that. If you look at the women in the Dark Girls documentary, you can see that their skin kind of looks kind of washed out. It doesn't look, you know, glowing and beautiful like it probably looks if you saw them in real life, or how it's supposed to look when a person goes on camera, as opposed to when you look at the Light Girls documentary. And I will admit I have not seen the whole entire clip because I was upset, because I said to myself, there is no non-dark-skinned female beauty struggle, so why are you trying to usurp the dark-skinned female, the real dark-skinned female struggle, and change it and turn it into something it's not? So I took issue with the lighting. But going back to the usurpation of the real struggle of dark-skinned women and girls, in terms of that question, how I feel about that, I just felt like it was a slap in the face. And that's why it's important for me as a dark-skinned woman and other dark-skinned women to tell their own stories. That's why I'm so vocal, because sometimes people don't get it right. And sometimes people try to usurp your struggle and try to change it into something else because they don't really want to continuously deal with what the issues are. And I have a big problem with that. And so that's why the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign exists, because one thing that dark-skinned women can know about me, they're always going to get from me, and I wrote a pledge to dark-skinned women in my book, A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge, they're going to always get the truth. They're going to always get my advocating. I'm not going to turn my back and say, you know, start, you know, turning on dark-skinned women and selling out. I'm never going to do that because I understand that there's a real beauty struggle that needs to be addressed. I mean, when you look at the billion-dollar skin lightening industry, no one can tell me, no one can look me in my eye and honestly tell me that the dark-skinned female beauty equality struggle does not exist. When you have a skin lightening industry all over the world, all over Africa, the Caribbean, even in the United States, where you have a situation where darker skinned women and some of the men are trying to lighten their skin. How can you say that the dark skin beauty struggle does not exist in light of a billion-dollar industry? It makes no sense. And so I will not allow others, as a free thinker, the free thinker that I am, and I do believe in free thinking, I will not allow others to come in and try to minimize or usurp the dark skinned female beauty struggle by bringing in other elements to, you know, to diminish it. I won't allow that to happen, and I think it's very disrespectful, and I think it's very insincere. And so I was very disappointed with that, and I hope I answered your question. Real quick, I want to get what Glenn said. He said, I appreciate what you're doing for our dark-skinned sisters and speaking out against this particular form of injustice. Thank you very much. Glenn, thank you for all your support, and I'm never going to stop until I see dark-skinned beauty equalized. Because, you know, I have a dark-skinned daughter, and I taught in the public schools, and I have seen so much dark skin discrimination till I can't count. And, you know, really and truly, it's about me, because a lot of times people will start movements based on what they went through, but it's way bigger than me. Really, my mind is focused on husbands, suitable black husbands for dark-skinned women and girls. We need to make sure that happens. We need to be working real hard to make that happen. And so I'm never going to stop until I see that come into fruition. Let me take some more questions. Oh, this is an excellent question. What support can a black man give to make our dark-skinned woman feel special? I love that question. One of the things that I feel like black men, because I'm glad you asked that question. At the heart of this campaign, and I have to be honest, I love black men, and I've always wanted the attention of black men, the love of black men. I always wanted black men to see me as beautiful, because I had a father who was dark-skinned, and he was very kind to me. He was a good man, and I loved him so much, and he treated me well, although I didn't grow up in the same household with him because my mother and my father split up. But he gave me that foundation that caused me to love black men. So I have like a love affair going on with black men. Not, you know, not all black men, but you know what I mean? In general, I love black men. And so at the heart of the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign is to get black men to see dark-skinned women as beautiful, because I feel that black men are really the answer to this. We can't have black women without black men. So if black men can do things like be more vocal about the beauty of dark-skinned women and girls, date and marry dark-skinned women and girls in larger numbers. If you see a black man denigrating a dark-skinned woman, to confront him, have the courage to confront him. Talk to your friends and your family about the beauty of dark-skinned women. I had one man that messaged me and told me that he has a nephew that's coming up that kind of discriminates a little bit against dark-skinned girls. And he sat him down and he started talking to him and having conversations with him about the beauty of dark-skinned black women and how he should love and respect them. And so conversations like that need to be had. I mean, we might think that, you know, our kids, they're just growing up and just coming along, but with all the media images that disparages dark-skinned women, we have to have something to buffer that by sitting down and speaking in a very direct way to our kids, to our boys, about the beauty of dark-skinned women, and saying, yeah, you know, all black women are beautiful, but hey, look at how beautiful this dark-skinned woman is. And I think that that's something that the men are really going to have to do, because again, it's the men whose attention that I want, that we want as dark-skinned black women, that I'm fighting for the little dark-skinned girls that's coming up right now, so that they'll have black husbands, they'll have black boyfriends. So, that's very important. Just, black men just showing and being real vocal about protecting, loving dark-skinned black women. That is so important. And even like if you go back to the music videos, yeah, I grew up watching BET, and I just really feel that the issues of using women in videos in a manner that makes them not look so flattering, that's a whole nother issue. But I always felt like if the black men, the black male entertainers, if they could put more dark-skinned women in their videos in a tasteful manner, that would have a huge impact in a respectful manner, because you have millions of people that are watching these songs, that are watching these artists, and they're impacting the lives of these people, these young, impressionable people. And so if they see this black man with this dark-skinned woman, then subconsciously these young kids, these young boys are going to be like, oh, I want to get me a dark-skinned girlfriend too. They're going to see dark-skinned women as beautiful too. So, I hope I answered your question with those ways that the black man can make a dark-skinned woman feel special. And just real quickly, I just want to, that reminds me of my father, how my father, he was a member of the Nation of Islam and founded a lot of mosques around the city of St. Petersburg. And people loved him in St. Petersburg, especially the women, because he was always telling black women how beautiful they were. I always saw him doing it. Like, this man really loved and praised dark-skinned women. He would say, I remember he would say, black women y'all don't need to wear any makeup. All y'all need to do is take care of yourself and maybe put on some lip gloss, and y'all, that's it. That's all y'all need. You beautiful. And I remember him saying that, and every time I saw my father, he would always tell me how beautiful I was, and he would smile at me, and he would be so jovial to me, and it just really created this impression of that I have of, even though we have all these problems with black men and black women, and even though I was dark-skinned mental abuse by men outside of my father, I still had that love, because my father, I said subconsciously to myself, not all black men can be this way, because my father, who was a dark-skinned man himself, he loved me. So it gave me hope. So let me see. I got some more questions coming in. I'm trying very hard to fill the questions. I got a few questions coming in from text. Hold on one second. Let's see. One person says, if white people understand your movement, why is it so hard for black people to understand it? Hold on one second. Let me. She has some more to that question. She says, how do you feel about white people supporting your campaign when black people call you a black racist? Okay, that's a great question. And it's funny, because when I do my plays, I have different races that actually come to my plays. Black, white, Asian. I've had all types of people come to my plays. And my feeling is that anyone that is for equality, because at the heart of this movement, it's about humanitarianism, and I feel that I am a dark-skinned humanitarian for dark-skinned female beauty, because I think about it also in these terms. If dark-skinned women are looked at as unattractive, then what of their reproductive power to produce children? You know, what of their chances for marriage? And I know some people have said, oh, that's ridiculous to make that stretch, but it's not ridiculous. If you're beating down the beauty of a woman, and if we know that it's been proven that beauty is a form of currency. Dr. Margaret Hunter, that's her name. She's one of the chief colorism scholars, Dr. Margaret Hunter, who happens to be a light-skinned woman. For people out there that think that I hate light-skinned women, I respect Dr. Margaret Hunter's scholarship, because she's done a lot of work in terms of proving the disparities between, you know, dark-skinned women and non-dark-skinned women. But back to the question, the campaign has been supported by white people, black people, different people. So I don't have a problem with that. In terms of black people who call me divisive and who call me a black racist because they feel that I hate light-skinned people, I say to them that they're deflecting from the real issue of dark-skinned female discrimination. It's easier for them to paint me as a black racist or dividing black people along the lines of skin color than to deal with the actual real and true facts. And the facts are that we know that dark-skinned women, and again, this has been proven. I would encourage you all that are listening to go out there and take a real serious look at the colorism literature, scholarly literature, because it's there. For example, there was a Villanova study that proved that dark-skinned women are more likely than non-dark-skinned women to get longer prison sentences. Okay? There are other studies, going back to Dr. Margaret Hunter and a host of others, that have shown that dark-skinned women have less education. They tend to marry less. They make less money than their non-dark-skinned counterparts. And to you is the evidence, the research, the body of research, and the evidence is there. But people choose, and not just the research, but we're talking about people's lived experiences. You understand? So like when I go back to talk about my experience trying to get into the graduate degree program at the University of South Florida and that kind of thing, and what I went through. Those are my lived experiences. You know, you can't discount what somebody actually goes through. To go back to me seeing dark-skinned women at work who are pushed aside and discriminated against for non-dark-skinned women. I know women that this has happened to. That's a real lived experience. For me, sitting here counseling dark-skinned women who have gone through abuse because they're too dark-skinned, that's a real lived experience. So we can't continue to discount the real lived experiences of dark-skinned women who are undergoing dark-skinned mental abuse. When I've sat in countless classrooms after classrooms and heard children disparaging other dark-skinned children because they're dark-skinned, that's a real lived experience. So to those people that say I'm divisive, what do you have to say to those experiences? Am I making it up? Is it in my head? Am I the crazy one here? I think so. I think we need to deal with the issue. We need to be honest and say, you know, this goes on. I remember there was a guy on Facebook, he told the truth about how he felt. I'm not going to say his name, but I respected him. I didn't like what he had to say, but he told the truth about how he viewed dark-skinned women. And so that's the level of truth that I want to get on. If the truth is ugly, because I already know what the truth is, and the truth has been ugly, it's been going on to me and other dark-skinned women for a long time. So I know the truth is ugly. But if we can get black people to really deal with the issue, the ugly issues, and say this is what it is, then to me that's the only way that we can get to a solution in terms of creating dark-skinned female beauty equality. Do you want your dark-skinned daughters, those of you that have dark-skinned daughters out there, to experience dark-skinned female beauty discrimination, or do you not? It's very simple. That's what I would say to those people. And I would also say, no matter what you say to me, I still love you as a human being, as my black brother and sister, but I'm going to still continue to fight for dark-skinned female beauty equality. I hope I answered your question. Let's see. I have another question here. This person says they tried to make the light-skinned experience equal and tried to make light-skinned women seem like victims of angry dark-skinned women. I think men should protect dark-skinned women, not idly sit back and allow dark-skinned beauty to be bashed. I don't think this person would mind me saying her name. Hold on, let me just ask her. Because I have such a great deal of respect for this sister, because she is one of my light-skinned sisters that's actually on the ground doing the work to create a situation where dark-skinned female beauty is equalized. So I really respect her, and that goes back to the question of what her name is Carla Mullings. Shout out to Carla Mullings. Thank you very much. I appreciate you for listening in, and I appreciate you for all the work. And I want to reiterate that this is a light-skinned sister that is in solidarity with the black struggle, with the dark-skinned female beauty struggle, that is actually doing her part. She founded Dark Skin United, which is a Facebook group that you can go and join. And I just want to thank her and appreciate her for her work, because she is one of the black people that understands, that is standing up, and that is doing her part to eradicate dark-skinned female beauty discrimination. And she says that she thinks that dark-skinned women should be protected by black men, and I agree. That's an excellent point. And that's why I was saying at the heart of the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign is black men. Black men can solve this problem. Like, I wouldn't even be sitting here talking and going out if I felt a certain level of protection and love as an adult woman from my black men. So I totally agree with you on that. And back to the point of what she's saying is that they tried to make the light skin, I think she was speaking about the Light Girls documentary. They tried to make the light skin experience equal and tried to make light skinned women seem like victims of angry dark skinned women. And I did not watch the documentary, but I've seen that happen a lot. I've seen a lot where light skinned women will say, oh, I was beat up by a dark-skinned woman for being light-skinned with long hair. And that might have happened. I'm not going to sit here and say and discount that person's experience because I don't know. But I know me personally, I've never had a fight or a beef with a light-skinned woman ever in my life. It's always been about the black men. But what I don't like is what Carla, and I see what Carla is saying, is casting dark-skinned women as the aggressors, when in fact dark-skinned women are really and truly the victims. And again, I'm not saying that that light-skinned woman didn't go through that. Maybe she did get into a fight and, you know, got beat up by a dark-skinned woman. But on a whole, what I am saying is that don't try to turn those types of situations into saying, well, dark-skinned women are really the aggressors here, when in fact we are the victims of beauty inequality. Dark-skinned women are the victims of beauty inequality, and that's what I want to deal with. Let's see. I have some more questions coming in, and I'm trying to get to those questions as fast as I can. I'm on Facebook. I'm reading the comments here, and I'm also on the webinar. And I want to thank you guys for taking the time to join me, the first ever Dark Skin Conference online to deal with this issue head on. I appreciate you guys. You can keep in mind that you can go to my website and you can join the campaign and get a free copy of the motivational book. It's called How to Be the Hottest Dark Skin Chick on the Planet. It's a motivational book for dark skinned women and girls. Also, keep in mind that I have the play, A Dark Skinned Woman's Revenge, that's coming up in New Orleans. You can purchase your tickets at darkskinisbeautifulcampaign.com. Yeah, just go to the website and just, you know, get more information on the campaign. You can also contact me at darkskinisbeautifulcampaign@gmail.com. Also, consider donating to the campaign. All the proceeds go to me producing more plays, as well as the distribution of the books about dark skin all over the world, as well as speaking engagements and workshops around the topic of dark skin, and it's all going to the equalization of dark skinned women and girls. And so, real quickly, hold on one second. Will Justice says, Will Justice will always promote dark skin beauty and value. Also, will show the science of genetic wealth of darkness. And I want to say real quick to Will Justice, thank you very much, because this man is one of the people that is using social media to actually promote. I love this man because I always see his posts about dark skin and black people, and he actually lives what he's speaking about, and I just want to appreciate him for that, and always supporting dark skinned women and, you know, uplifting dark skinned women, because we have to have our black men doing it, and I can't appreciate you enough for that. So I just want to say thank you, thank you, thank you. And hold on one second. I'm trying to get to all of your questions and comments. Yeah, so like I said, and I'm just going to the questions here. Go to darkskinisbeautifulcampaign.com. Let me get to another question. This person says, how do you feel about light-skinned paid entertainers only teaching or doing charitable work by using dark-skinned blacks as recipients just so they can get more money for themselves, and they wear black all the time, don't associate with anyone dark skin? I feel that that is hypocritical, and I feel that they should be ashamed of themselves, and I feel that they have no right to use the struggle of dark-skinned people to capitalize off of that. And, you know, just that goes back to, real quick, let me just address the Kendrick Lamar situation and what I said about Kendrick Lamar and how dark-skinned women should not support or buy his music, because that is an example. What this person just, the question that they just posed to me is an example of what Kendrick Lamar, what I felt he did in terms of using dark-skinned women to make it seem like to the world that, oh, you know, I'm on this dark-skinned woman thing, I support dark-skinned women, but then when you got married, you did not reflect that in your marriage choice. So for me, I thought that that was fraudulent behavior, because I feel that you capitalized off of that, because you know that there's a big audience of, you know, women, black women, that will support your music if they see a reflection of themselves in there, and especially the dark-skinned woman who is rarely shown in the media the way that she's supposed to be shown in, and they say, okay, this black man right here is showing us, he likes us, he appreciates us, but then in your marriage selection, that's not what you chose. And so to me, I feel that that's an example of what the question that she was posing here to me, because you're not being real about it. You're using us to capitalize for yourself, and you know, you're not being real. I have a problem with that. You know, and I feel that that's another form of dark-skin discrimination. I would even say that that's a form of dark-skin economic discrimination. So, let's see. I got some other questions coming in. This person says, dark-skinned women bleaching their skin lowers their standards to a more European form of beauty. And he said that he's going to study this. Yeah, I just did a documentary film interview about this issue in Trinidad and Tobago. And the producer, she's on Facebook. Her name is Renzi Wren. And she talked about how, you know, over in Trinidad and Tobago, the issue of colorism is huge over there. And how the men, they will fall head over heels for non-dark-skinned women, how black people over there will openly denigrate dark-skinned people. And, you know, in the skin lightening industry over in places like Jamaica and the Caribbean and Africa is huge. And yes, you know, black women who are bleaching their skin, they have self-esteem issues. They want to look European, plain and simple. They want to fit into a lighter, into a European standard of beauty. And I say, down with the skin lightening industry. I say that that's a product of racism and white supremacy. And I say that the dark skin, one of the things that the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign is going to be focused on, you know, and real quickly, I need your help. The campaign needs your help. I can't do all this stuff by myself. I'm always open to ideas on how to eradicate dark-skinned female beauty discrimination and dark-skin discrimination in general. But one of the things that the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign is going to be focused on is how can we take down the billion-dollar skin lightening industry, because it is destroying our black beauty, our ideal of classical African black beauty around the world. And we cannot have that. The classical beauty of Africanness cannot be minimized by taking these harmful agents to your skin and, you know, destroying the makeup of how you're supposed to look. So, you know, definitely, he says he's going to study that. Absolutely, I'm in solidarity with that. Whatever I could do to assist in that study, all you got to do is let me know, and I'll try my best to do whatever I can do, because that's something that we need to work on as black people. We need to take down the skin lightening industry. It needs to be driven out of business, plain and simple. Let's see. This person says, I'm enjoying this conference call. Thank you. I'm so glad you're enjoying it. He says, my respect for you has gone up another notch. And again, keep up the good work. Yeah, I will. You know, I will never stop because, you know, I stayed silent for so long. Like I would suffer in silence. And for some of you have actually read my story. It's on audiobook. You can also go to the website and it's there. And I talk about how poverty, you know, when you're dark skinned and you're poor, that's like a triple double whammy. When you're dark skinned, female, and poor, you're gonna have a big problem. Your life is gonna be hell. And how do I know? Because I actually went through that. You know, and so growing up, you know, we were in poverty. I was homeless, abused, the lights was off, government cheese, all that crazy stuff. And then when you don't have like the proper clothes to wear, and you don't have the look, you know, it just, for a dark-skinned girl, it just really diminishes her self-esteem and her value, because at that age she's too young to understand all these things. But all these things kind of go together, and it's like people are not as empathetic to you. This is how I feel, because you're dark-skinned as opposed to if you are non-dark skinned. I've seen this happen. I'm telling you, I've seen it's happened to me, and I've seen this happen in schools, where if you look at a poor dark-skinned girl and you look at a poor non-dark-skinned girl, there's a little bit more empathy going on. So we need to examine and look at these kinds of things. So all of that hurt and pain, which I still harbor and carry, but instead of me doing something negative and going out and just, you know, doing destructive things, I rather deal with it like this, because I know that there's millions of other people that's going through the exact same thing that I'm going through that can be helped. So I will never stop the work, because it's therapy for me and it's helping other people, and it's a win-win situation. So, you know, I'm just loving it, you know. Let's see, do I have any more questions coming in? Okay. So yeah, so I'm gonna I don't see any more questions coming in, but real quick, I want to just say thank you for everybody that took the time to attend the first Dark Skin online conference. I really appreciate you. I love you. I thank you. You know, and you know, I'm gonna try to do another one of these conferences again. The schedule is very busy, but I want you guys to go and support and check out the website. I just got the website off the ground thanks to the funds that I received from the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign. And so on there will be blogs with my real true commentary, because, you know, Facebook has a tendency to kick me off of Facebook when I say what I really feel, and I'm not going to be censored. I'm going to speak out on how I really feel. So you can check out the website with the blogs that are going to be on there. Go and register for the campaign and read the motivational book. I will send it to you once you register, How to Be the Hottest Dark-Skinned Chick on the Planet. That book is a book of tips and motivation for dark-skinned women and girls, because, again, we need somebody to specifically deal with the issues that dark-skinned women and girls face, and that is why I wrote that book. It took me a while to it started off as a DVD, and then I said, you know what, I'm going to just turn this into an actual book, an ebook, so that people can more easily access it and read it and get the information. So so please go and read that book. I want you to really read it, share it with other people, because the information in there is important. It's important to our self-esteem, because we can't have dark-skinned women just relishing and not being the fullest person that they can be, that God created them to be, just because somebody is saying, oh, you're not beautiful enough, you know. So that book was specifically written from a dark-skinned woman's experience, who has been there and done that, who has, you know, I tell people I went from homeless on the streets to a master's degree. And it took a whole lot of God and a whole lot of discipline and other things that I picked up and learned along the way that I wanted to share. So go get that book. That's free. Go get the book, A Dark-Skinned Woman's Revenge. That book is fire, because it speaks on, it's talking about the real life experiences of dark-skinned women, what we really go through in America. Our experience is relevant. People need to know about it, and they need to understand it in order for us to be able to create solutions. I feel that every black person in America should read this book. Every black person in America is going to see this play. The next play I have is coming up in New Orleans, November 21st. All the information is on the website. If you want to know more in detail about the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign, you can go to the website, and there's information, there's in-depth, detailed information on the website. If you want to know more detail about me, my biography is on the website. You can go there and read it. Like I said, I'll be putting out blogs as well. If you want to just contact me, you got something personally you want to say to me, because like I said, I understand a lot of people don't want to expose what they have to say to the world like I do. So you could always email me at darkskinIsBeautifulCampaign@gmail.com, and trust me, I will make time to talk to you. I might not get back to you immediately because I do work a full-time job, as well as I have, take care of my kids, but I will make time to get back to you because you are important to me, and I love my black people, and I've always worked for my black people, and I'm gonna continue to do that to the day I die. So you can always contact me. And yeah, and real quickly, I just want to include, I'm getting some more questions here as I'm talking. Will Justice says, dark-skinned women chose dark-skinned men to have dark-skinned children with, and vice versa. And I think that he can correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm pretty sure he's listening in, that he's saying that dark-skinned women need to choose dark-skinned men to have kids with. We need to not run away from that. And a lot of dark-skinned women and black women, they have grown up with self-hatred in them too, saying that, oh, I want a light-skinned child with, good hair and all this stuff. You hear these comments coming from dark-skinned people or brown-skinned people because they're devaluing their own dark skin and their own kinky hair. And that's not okay. There's nothing wrong with light skin and curly hair. I'm not going to call it good hair because I believe that all black people hair, from the kinkiest to the softest or whatever you want to call it, I believe all black people's hair is good hair. But a lot of black people, they devalue their blackness, and so I don't think that we should do that. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, I remember I would always say to myself, I want me a dark-skinned baby with beautiful kinky hair. And the reason why I said that is because I'm dark-skinned myself and I have kinky hair. And I have no problem with a child that is the reflection of me. I have no problem. Now, that's not to say that if I have a light-skinned baby with green eyes and soft hair or whatever you want to call it, that I won't love that baby equally, because I would. But what I'm saying is I don't have a problem with, birthing a child that is the exact reflection of me. I don't have a problem with that. And I think that that's the state where all black people should be, particularly dark-skinned black people, because we see a lot that it's a lot of dark-skinned black people that want to kind of erase themselves and zero themselves out. And that is a form of self-hatred, plain and simple. Let's see. I have another question here. How can we encourage black men to stop discrimination? Yes, that's another question from Carla. One of the things that we can do, and I'm starting to see the benefits of this. I was afraid for a while. I think that black men and black women, we need to start with the children. We need to take our black sons, because remember, I believe at the heart of the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign is black men. Like, black men play a central role in this. So we need to take our black male children, and we need to teach them. We need to literally sit down and have a class and teach them about dark skin beauty, about African classical beauty. Okay? And a lot of people, they want to argue with me about this, but I'm going to say, I've said it on Facebook, and I'm going to say it right now verbally to go on record. Dark skin is the essence of African beauty. Plain and simple. Dark skin. Okay? The majority of the people in Africa are dark skinned. You have over 1 billion people in Africa. The majority are dark skinned. Our classical African culture, our classical African look in terms of the women are dark skinned. And that is not to say that I don't respect or find the beauty in the lesser darker skinned black people in Africa. That is just to simply deal with the facts of our classical African culture. And so what I believe is that we need to be, if we teach our kids that what our African classical ideals of beauty is, and if we really we have to bombard them with it. It has to be a concerted propaganda campaign, because they're going to be bombarded with other images if they live in America. So we have to constantly and consistently bombard them with these messages and these teachings and these images, so that when they grow up, they will not have a disdain and hatred towards dark-skinned female beauty. So I really believe that we have to start with our black male children and teaching them that. And then again, I believe that the black man, the adult black man, is a central part of this because he can teach other young black males by example. Like I was speaking about the black man who was teaching his nephew about the beauty of dark-skinned women because he saw that he was going to possibly be going the other way. So he caught that, and he sat down with him. This man messaged me and told me exactly what he did in detail. And I was like, that is the type of work that we have to do. So, yeah, I hope I answered your question. With my own son, my son is 16 now, and when he was little, what I would do, I would cut out pictures and black women, black men and dark-skinned black women, and I would put it all over his room. I would put up pictures of Africa, and I would of course take him to the Uhuru movement. He would see the different types of activisms that we would be engaged in, and I would constantly talk to him about loving black people and dark-skinned black women. And I wondered to myself for a long time, just looking at things, is this boy really going to listen to me? And now when I talk to him sometimes, some of the things that he says to me lets me know that the foundation is there. The foundation of love and respect and admiration for the beauty of dark-skinned women, the foundation is there. While I can't control him and tell him what to do, I know that the manifestation of it is there. So, those are some of the things that we have to do. So I'm going to, I think that I have some people that asked some questions in the event that I created, and I'm just now seeing that. And I do apologize if I did not get to your question because I was focused on the people that were actually messaging me in the Facebook messages. But let me see. We got about 4 minutes, so I'm going to try to go to the event that I created and see if I can look to see if there's any questions. And bear with me because my computer is running kind of slow here. So the event is going to take a minute to come up. But like I said before, I want to thank you all for taking the time to come to this Dark Skin Online Conference. And please spread the message of what we're talking about. I don't just want to just be on here just talking and running my mouth. I want to talk and provide solutions and go out and do. I want us to go out and talk to our children about dark-skinned black beauty. In fact, today I went to the store and I bought my daughter a dark-skinned doll. I was able to find a pretty little dark-skinned doll with relatively kinky hair. And, so I think that we should always be in that type of mode of empowerment constantly, And it's not work. It's easy to do. Once you put your mind in that frame of mind, it's like you can you do it like clockwork with no problem, So I think that that's what we have to do. I'm looking in the conference event on Facebook just to make sure that I don't have any questions. Someone said Wally Mandela said very informative session. Rashida, great job. Thank you for listening. Like I said, I really want to appreciate you guys for taking this time out to listen because it's your time. You didn't have to be here, but you took the time to listen to what I have to say and to the struggles of dark-skinned women and what the Dark Skin is Beautiful campaign is all about. And on that note, I want to thank you guys so much, and I'm going to end the webinar or the conference call with that. And I will, when I have another one, I will let you guys know of the next webinar. And that's it. And thank you guys so much.